This is actually a story about an elderly Hasidic man who I met while I'd been working at a brothel for some time. He was about 60 years old and he really blew my mind. I stood in 6-inch black patent leather thigh boots, looking down my nose at the old man in front of me, my hands fisted and resting on my corseted waist. I enjoyed the height. It made me more confident in my role as a sadistic dominatrix. I began to feel sexy. Sid said, I'd like it if you could use the cuffs to restrain my arms behind my back. I'd like to be blindfolded. His mouth watered, his eyes stern and concentrated. So you want me to restrain you, to blindfold you? Well, if you could. Go ahead, tell me. I softened my voice. I was not a professional dom, I was a whore. When a client called the house for a dom session, they were directed to me. I was a willing player, and the money was as good as any. Go ahead, Sydney, what next? Well, he said, I really want you to call me a filthy little Jew bastard. He didn't look at me and spoke so softly. I wasn't sure I heard him correctly, and I better get this right. Sid, did you say filthy Jew bastard? Yes. Is there a problem? He asked nervously. He looked directly into my eyes to see my reaction, of which I tried to have none. I could see his mouth starting to tremble. His small eyes glistened. Call me a filthy Jew pig, an animal, that I should be gassed and slaughtered and thrown away with all the other filthy Jew pigs, he said in his strong Eastern European accent. Okay, now I was shocked. Still, I tried to remain emotionless and stern. I had learned that clients often want to shock or upset a girl. That's part of their trip. But I didn't think Sid was going through this detailed description to shock me. Get your clothes off, I ordered. Sid got up off the edge of the bed. He slowly removed his formal Hasidic white shirt and black pants. I nervously walked over to him, not quite sure how to begin. I felt so uncomfortable speaking to this little old man in such an obviously disrespectful manner. The fact it was at his request didn't make it any easier. Okay, pig, I began. You're a nasty little bastard, aren't you? I began with the obvious key words. Then there was silence. My mind raced. I felt red with nerves and embarrassment. I'd never been good at standing on stage during performances. I leaned over just enough so Sid could see up and under my tiny short skirt to my exposed buttocks. He started to breathe a little heavier and touched himself. Who gave you permission to touch your little dick, you fuck? Did you hear me, little shit? That sounded a bit weak. Little shit certainly wasn't severe enough. I leaned over and put the paddle down that was in my hand. While doing so, I passed my unbuttoned cleavage under Sid's nose. Did you dare look at my breast, you vile, pathetic piece of dirt? Now that's a little better, I thought. I could see his heart pounding within his chest. He stole a glance at me. I smiled. I liked playing these games. They aroused me. But the words I had been asked to say, they bothered me. Get your hands off your penis, I ordered. Now, say it, he whispered. I had to do as he asked. It was his fantasy, his money. You disgusting, filthy Jew pig. I need to discipline you. There, I said it. He moaned. He was getting so aroused at these anti-Semitic words, his eyes glistened. I raised one leg onto the small nightstand so Sid could catch a glimpse of my crotch and my white girlish underwear. I felt awful hitting such an old and frail man with a paddle. It was used for serious spankings, and I started off with some light taps. More, he said quietly. You're a piece of shit. He began to masturbate with every smack of the crop. And you deserve this punishment because you're a lousy, stinking Jew. maybe cringe at how easily these words came tumbling from my lips. I could watch Sid without him seeing me because he was blindfolded. I couldn't help but like him. He'd probably been a good father, good provider for his family. I imagined a handful of grown children and even more grandkids. I was sure they loved and cared about him. Again, he breathed. Fucking cunt, ass, boss. Bam. Done. The buzzer sounded, ending our session. Good night.